You've all seen that intro like 1,000 times, so I'm not replaying the whole thing.
I want to see it again.
And we're back. So, all right, Chris, we are chugging right along. That was an incredibly productive last episode. We cleaned out Hyrule and got Samus like 1,000 energy tanks.
Yeah, Samus is doing all right. Hey, there it is
Confirm
again.
button. Yep.
There it is again.
Everybody does it.
We did it.
It's not just me.
We did the thing.
So, how are we doing this wonderful post-Christmas stream?
Not good. Happy birthday of our Lord and Savior Jesus.
Santa Claus.
Santa Claus. From the channel that brought you Jenna Ortega's weirdly sexy Wednesday Addams dance. How you doing?
You know, I keep seeing that pop up in my news outlets, and I was like, that doesn't strike me as in keeping with the Addams Family content.
Yeah, right. I know. Well, but you know, it's one of those things where like I'm very clearly not the target audience for it, but
how many times have we said that on this channel?
Well, yeah, for sure. But you know, if it's taking the internet by storm enough that I'm aware of it, then it must be culturally relevant.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
Speaking of culturally relevant, that is something this channel will never be.
Yeah. I'm proud.
Where did we leave off last week? I know we're off to an extremely strong start. We killed Crocomire, Kraid.
Yeah.
So Phantom.
Samus is pretty much a walking arsenal at this point. There's like once you get the space jump, there's pretty much nothing you can't do.
Yeah, we got to start clearing out the wrecked ship. That's what we need to do next.
But there's also some other like easy picking items here. I think, and this is just me guessing, that we decided to go back to Metroid at the end of the last episode in the hopes that we might be able to finally pick up some items that Link desperately needs.
Oh no, we're doing fine between both games. I think what it was is I just promised I just promised that there'd be a dead Phantom by the end of the stream is what that was about.
That works for me.
That was purely personal.
That was just a personal preference. Hey, missiles.
Yeah.
Off to a strong start.
We'll get this low-hanging fruit. I figure we'll clear out the wrecked ship. And then at that point we'll oh god, go to Meridia.
Yeah, good old Meridia. Now correct me if I'm wrong, did you end up getting the regular bombs last time?
No.
No, okay.
No.
We got bombos, and I thought it was the regular bombs. Yeah, just Spanish, regular bombs in Spanish.
all of a sudden, that's the one thing they chose to edit was make a joke out of bombs, right?
Los bombos.
La bomba.
La bomba. That's Spanish for the bomba. So Nick, how was your Christmas?
Survivable.
Did Santa get you anything good?
No, I didn't get anything from anyone.
Man, fuck that guy. Well,
I'm
pretty sure a friend might have mailed you something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, I did get your copy of Altered Carbon.
All right, cool. Let me know if you enjoyed that. I didn't think that it like, you know, was a revolutionary book by any stretch of the imagination, but I thought it was a really fun romp and a enjoyable, fun. You know,
oh, you know me,
action-packed romp in a really good sci-fi world.
Yeah, you know me. I always enjoy the thrill of something new.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay, there's nothing for us over here.
Have you had any previous exposure to Altered Carbon? Did you watch the Netflix series at all, or?
No, the only I know nothing about Altered Carbon, but I'm assuming it's somewhere in between The Neuromancer and The Caves of Steel by Asimov.
Oh yeah, do not set your hopes on The Neuromancer or anything like that. It is nowhere near as cerebral, but what it does, it does very well. It crafts kind of a genuinely enjoyable action mystery. Hey, we can do the
I was just thinking that. Yeah, we can go
the
back
hall
down
at the
to
beginning
Torian.
of the game. Yep. Nice.
Oh boy, a heart piece. Thanks. All of my presents for Christmas have sucked. Thanks, Chozo. You really came through this year.
Jackass.
I did the best I could.
Come on, guys.
Oh,
hey,
10 arrows. Thanks.
Score.
Anyone else want to disappoint me? All right. I'm sorry. What were you saying now about?
Oh yeah, no, I was just pontificating on Altered Carbon. It's a great book. It's but it is not going to like change the way you think about cyberpunk or sci-fi novels. It basically just okay. It basically just takes the cyberpunk genre and makes a excellent thriller out of it. It's good stuff. I enjoyed it a lot.
And that's good because I've read very little of the cyberpunk genre because outside of the Neuromancer, I honestly don't like it.
Okay.
So
you might like this then, because it's one of those books that like it could be set in a cyberpunk universe, or they could change some details slightly and set it in, like a Dick Tracy classic crime kind of vignette. It would still be good.
Well, you know what the Caves of Steel by Asimov is, do you? Not?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. Have you read it?
No, you've talked to me about it before,
yes.
though.
Okay, gotcha. I'm sure I probably belabored the plot in excruciating detail, as I tend to do. No answer. Check.
Definitely did that. No, actually, anyway. I don't think you gave me much of the plot of that one. I think you told me some of your thoughts on it. But...
It's better if you've read more of the Asimov expanded universe, because if I remember correctly, the detective that is a robot he gets paired with,
the ACU,
is actually
the Asimov cinematic universe. Sorry.
Yes. Well, the Asimov, all of his novels ended up being interconnected thematically later on.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
So like Foundation, like that's what I was getting at, was the detective that the human gets paired with in Caves of Steel, who is a robot that he hates, is actually Daniil A. Olivar, better known as Demerzel, and he's like a huge part of the Foundation.
Oh, okay. So
series.
I confess, I think I've confessed before. My only exposure really with the Foundation was the Apple TV series,
which was awful.
Yeah, okay. So I desperately tried to like it and couldn't get into it.
Yeah, it is flaming hot garbage. If you didn't like it, I respect you more.
Okay, cool. Good.
No, Foundation had some interesting ideas. The first book, Foundation, I mean, granted, as old as it is, had some ideas, but didn't really. I mean, he was clearly talking about capitalism and the church. Didn't quite land any of his blows. The second and third novels were much better.
We're gonna get copyright strike by Asimov's Ghost, aren't we?
I'd love to get some interaction with Asimov's Ghost.
Dear assholes.
Hey, that was pretty complimentary considering how old those novels are.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a lot of things from the 70s that hold up too well, right?
I was gonna say, it's probably one of those things where, like, for the time they were written, they were positively mind-blowing, but I don't know, have either since been eclipsed or have just been dated to the point where, hey, Red Tunic, cool.
All right, I'll take it. Damage doesn't seem to be much of a concern for Link anymore.
No, nor Samus for that matter. I mean...
Yeah, and that's the thing with those novels, you kind of hit the nail there, is that someone at this point has done it better.
Yeah, okay. Glad to hear that. I guess you could use a few more energy tanks with Samus, but yeah, you're in good shape.
We could use them for Ridley, definitely.
Yeah. Ridley is just such a... Like, he fills the screen, and he just will damage you. Like, that fight is not intended to be done strategically.
He's also at such an awkward angle, and you can't see him throughout most of the fight.
Yeah, he'll
you're just
rain
kind
down
of
his arrow tail
firing.
Yep.
And hoping the missiles make their way to where they're supposed to. Now, if I remember correct...
That was actually probably one of the things that I most enjoyed about Metroid Dread, which is that it got the exploration aspects down right of Metroid that I love very much, but weirdly enough, it also made the combat system actually kind of, hey, silver arrows. Score. Wow.
We're off to a good start tonight, Chris.
Everything's gonna fucking die.
We got a red tunic, which makes us invincible, and
silver
now we're
arrows.
Gonna be a killing machine. We got a bow, right?
Yeah, you got the bow. You got the bow.
Oh god, we have no sword, but we have the silver arrows. We're set.
That's all you
friends.
need. Yeah. Sweet.
We could almost kill Ganon with this setup.
Almost. Oh man. What was I just saying before we got the silver arrows?
You were talking about Metroid Dread's combat.
Oh yeah. So one of the things that I weirdly enough enjoyed most about that system was that, like, it was the combat was way more than just spam missiles until whatever you want dead is dead. It was there was like a decent counter system. The bosses had some patterns that you really had to learn. Like you were expected to die a couple times at the bosses before you got them down, which was a nice change of pace.
I recall there being another game that came out this year that expected you to die.
Which one was? Oh, That one about the rings, Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like the Elder's Ring or something.
Elder Scroll Rings, I believe.
Yes, Elder Scrolls: Revenge of the Rings.
Yes.
Brotherhood of the Revelations.
Revengeing by Hideo Kojima. We have nothing more to say. Good night, everybody.
All right, that's an episode.
That's
Good
an
job,
episode.
everyone.
10 minutes. You know, if we were going for like vintage Game Grumps, which is essentially what we are anyways, we could do like 15-minute episodes and post like 12 episodes
just enough
a week.
to get monetized. You know how I feel about that.
You know, that strategy really worked for them in the early days. Like, I actually enjoy the Game Grumps. I find them humorous, but to give them credit for 50 rupees, for
Screw that, we're not doing that.
for essentially the path that they carved themselves on YouTube and kind of it's gonna be a tight one here.
Yeah, this is getting complicated.
YouTube in its kind of early, I don't know, format.
This is really efficient, by the way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Powerbomb jumping. They managed to. Those guys will give you power bombs, right? No.
Well, we need at least a couple to clear this area.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
Oh, do they give you any? Oh, hell no.
Of course not.
No one on this planet is going to do me any favors, Chris. Do you think this flying frog face fucker is going to give me anything?
You know, I saw a few in the wrecked ship while we were in there.
Well, we're not in the wrecked ship. Oh, hey,
Now we are.
check it out. It's him.
It's the one guy.
Yeah, you know the story behind him? Yeah, he's the only one in the game.
Okay, well, yeah, that was. I knew that part. Didn't know anything.
Do you know why he's orange?
No.
Because there's a code glitch.
Oh, interesting.
And his sprite color is set to be whatever color the elevators are in the game.
Weird.
Yeah,
Okay.
It is weird. Now, if you go outside, you won't see him.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a little bit of trivia for you.
Okay, thank you. I've been wondering about that for a better part of 3 decades now.
You've noticed that weirdo before?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was like, why is he there? He's just some kind of like special thing. There were also like all kinds of schoolyard secrets about him. I remember from when I was a kid.
Yeah, if you use strength on him, you could like move the wrecked ship and find Mew.
Actually, no. The one that I always heard concerning that guy was that if you found a way up to where he is and killed him, he would give you the black suit.
Oh yes, the black suit.
The black suit Samus, which I'm pretty sure is why they ended up inserting that into Metroid Prime.
No, it's just because it's a cool color.
It is cool.
I mean, you know, the Phazon suit Samus, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It was a cool design. I liked it. I mean, it was just the gravity suit, but black, but it was cool. I actually almost prefer that style to the sequel's tendency to make her
Ride's over.
more and more creative, but less and less good looking. All right, what do we got? Sure isn't the gravity suit. It's a missile.
Oh, wowee, missiles.
Hey,
now this just
missiles.
leads me outside, right?
Does it deposit you into a free fall?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, go back and go underneath the Chozo statue.
With our
7
multitude
bombs.
of bombs.
Yeah, right.
Well, can I just...
I wish.
Okay,
yeah, you can. Cool. Screw attack, baby.
They'll save us at least one.
Yep. All right, what do we have? We have R2-D2.
We got the Swiss Family Robinson
yes,
robot.
that too. Danger.
No, please, not back in the hole.
Oh. Well, I mean, you got to get them just out of principle now. There we go.
Well, I got to get them so I can get the rest of this crap out of the way.
Yeah. I was wondering if you could blow it up and they would just be hovering there, but that's all right.
You know, I wish I had the liberty. Wish I had the foresight to find out. Now maybe this will be something.
Screw attack it. Yes, cool. Hey,
Oh.
actually, nice.
Yeah, I think this will actually get us an item back in Kakariko.
Excellent.
And we got 4 bombs to spare.
Sweet.
We would have had 5 if I didn't waste that one.
And on top of that, you'll actually be able to carry around a magic potion, which will be nice for lighting torches. What are the what are the crystals on top? Oh, those are Zelda crystals?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep. So I got 3 of them. Oh,
Sweet.
probably from most of the boss kills in this game.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Yep. There's one more item here I need to get.
With 3 power bombs left.
Cutting it close.
What's it gonna be? feel like that one up top we're just at. Oh wait, no, I guess we did go to
We
the left
were.
and we went outside. Yeah.
Can we? Yeah. Okay. We gotta loop around then.
Yeah.
That's fine.
This might give us the opportunity to try to regain some of our power bombs.
I just kind of want to engage in more interesting things than just my shopping list, trying to clear off stuff in the wrecked ship.
You know, I'm sorry, but that's kind of half, not even half, more than half. The fun of these randomizers is literally just going
not knowing.
Going through the game and like basically rolling the dice every time you open a chest or get an item. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm looking forward to beating the game, but when it finally becomes, hey, let's do the dungeons and kill the bosses, it's almost just gonna feel like, yeah, Super Metroid, it's Zelda. Let's go.
Yeah, there is a certain point, I guess, you kind of reach with these randomizers that it's like, okay, well, now it's just basically the games.
Yeah, now it's just the games again, only I'm way overpowered.
So I'm going to head back to the ship real quick and restock on power bombs before
that's a good call.
Somebody gets us soft locked.
That's a good call. So, any plans for New Year's?
Yeah, actually, I'm hosting a little New Year's party over here.
Sweet.
Well, my brother's house, but we're doing a
nice.
marathon session of Risk, so...
Oh, God, so someone's going to the hospital.
Yeah, probably. Some friendships will be ended that night.
Yep. I've never had a game of Risk not end in violence.
My brother is hyper-competitive, but thank God my sister Angelina, crippled him in the first turn.
Nice.
Otherwise, everybody would have crippled me in the second turn, so...
I think prior to it, you should watch the Seinfeld episode where Kramer and Newman play Risk.
That's the classic, isn't it?
And see if the bit about the Ukraine sinks in a relevant way.
It's all about Australia, my friend.
Yeah.
There's only one way into Australia and one way out.
Oh yeah, that's true. What was I gonna say? Oh, on top of those mountains by your ship, free item up at the power bomb door. I don't know if you've gotten that or thought about it yet.
Oh no, I do not know for the life of me how to pull off the diagonal shine spark.
Oh, okay.
I have tried and I can't do it.
It's a pain in the ass, but
it's a mental block for me.
That's fine. You'll get it. It's the Master Sword behind that door.
No, it would just be the normal sword because we haven't even gotten.
Oh, you're right. You're right. You told me about that, where the swords always have to follow the sequential order.
Yeah. So you'll never get the gold sword first.
I kind of wish there was a setting though that you could toggle, and it would just randomly be the fucking gold sword in one of the chests. Okay, cool.
All right, what do we need to do?
I think I mentioned it before, but the Mai Tai is the official drink of this stream.
You need another Mai Tai, Chris? Do you need another 3 Mai Tais?
Do not tempt me to make a second Mai Tai. I will be incoherently drunk.
I could go for a grasshopper, in all honesty. All I've got's a Guinness.
Well, guess you better get down here, Nick.
For a grasshopper, yeah.
For a grasshopper. Grasshopper and hot pot. That's all I have to offer you.
That's great, because that's all I really want out of life is grasshoppers and hot pots. Everything else is just details.
Nick is a man of simple taste.
Well, Chris, this could be...
That is about the easiest... Go ahead.
This could be our final stream of 2022.
Yeah, most likely, as a matter of fact, because I'm traveling for the next 3 days. I guess Thursday evening I'd be free.
Okay,
hey,
might be able
to... Sparks says, hope you had a good holiday.
Ah, thank you, Sparks. I appreciate that. How'd yours go?
Happy Kwanzaa, Sparks.
Can I just say, strangely wholesome moment? Last week was miserable trying to get everything ready for work for the plant shutdown for the holidays. And that was just so incredibly cozy. Just, marathoning this for 2 hours and then chatting with Sparks with a couple Guinnesses and a nice comfy blanket.
Hey, what is that? That's a beam.
That was wonderful.
That's the charge beam, okay.
Yeah.
Not useless.
I don't have the charge beam. I just did not realize that until just now. Okay, well.
The wave beam would have been real nice, but the charge beam's good.
A problem that I didn't know existed has been solved. It's just like the plot to Avengers Endgame.
Spark says she's glad she could help make your day better.
Alright, we got one more item left here in the ship, and then we're done with this.
Yep.
Am I seriously?
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
No, I don't want to talk over you. I was saying, Sparks, if this channel ever somehow gains any real traction, people will be so disappointed when they realize we are not going to strike friendships with, like, every single chatter.
What are you talking about? I got done making holiday cards for everybody who's a subscriber this year.
I figure
just don't have
every single subscriber we met is a friend that I haven't met yet. You do feel special.
Look at that. I just wasted 2 minutes getting here.
That's all right. We had to hit some blocks in the road in this incredibly smooth randomizer.
Yeah, I got that room confused with a different one.
So at this point, you pretty much have your picks of places to go, man.
We can, we kind of almost have to try to hit a wall.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, you could start doing dungeons even and try to intersperse it a little with the item collecting. Spark says, whenever you reach sub-level, I call first subscriber. Sweet. Wait, there's a thing as sub-level? That's interesting. I don't know any of the rules of Twitch. We really just do this as a way to engage with a couple of friends who may want to watch us live, and then I just take the episodes and put them on our YouTube channel, which was originally all we had. We would just record these and then...
like a pen pal system, yeah?
Yeah, really. And that's about it. I know what inspired me, Nick, was you mentioned one of your siblings originally wanted to watch a stream that we were doing. And I was like, oh, I can give Twitch a shot and see how it works, but I haven't really messed with it at all since. I don't know anything about, like, the creator's corner or whatever it's called and how all that stuff
I have a question, Chris.
Huh.
All right. Now, here's the thing, is if we go into Meridia, it's a long way back to Legend of Zelda.
Wait, there's an entry into Zelda from Meridia, isn't there?
Yes, but we have no mirror, and it takes you to the Dark World.
Yeah, and you
Do we want to go to Death Mountain now and try to raid that treasure mill?
I was going to say, I kind of got a hankering for a little more Zelda. Your call, my friend. Spark says, I think you have to have a certain number of views per stream. She can research it for us. All right, Sparks, if you want to be our official Twitch coordinator,
is that number 10? Because the Minoria streams were doing pretty well.
Yeah, that's true. So I know there's like stuff for like certain number of hours viewed, certain number of followers, all of that stuff. Like there's like a pretty big barrier to monetization, which I think is kind of like the main like glass ceiling of Twitch. Like once you're monetized, you can pretty much take full advantage of the platform.
Okay.
But
I'm sorry. I'm gonna go ahead and I think you're right. I think let's go ahead and get those like 10 chests in Death Mountain.
Yeah, go for it, man.
And then we'll go ahead. We'll raid Meridia for the rest of the night.
Sweet.
Because one, I hate Meridia.
You're calling it.
Yeah, for one, I hate Meridia. Two, I mean, you know it's going to be something great, like all 4 swords, right?
Yeah, right. Of course. Wouldn't that be great? In the same fucking room.
I'd get behind that.
That would be swell.
So anyways, how did your Christmas go?
Good. I spent most of it building the Mushroom Kingdom for Michael, and
oh, I saw that. That was wonderful. I loved that picture.
Yeah.
Good. Time well spent.
Yeah, I thought so. I did intend originally to knock out an entire book, but that was wishful thinking.
What entire book could you have knocked out?
I don't know. I was going to pick one and just go through it, but instead I built the Mushroom Kingdom.
How quick do you read? Good lord.
Honestly, okay, so this year I made it a private goal to, like, read a lot more. And I started with Andy Weir's The Martian, and that took me probably about a month from start to finish.
That's a small book, though.
Yes, exactly. Well, that's my point. It was originally kind of slow going, but then I read like 3 other books sequentially after that in the next month. And now, like, if I actually sit down with one, I can probably knock it out in like a week.
Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, depending on the week.
No, completely understandable, yeah. All right, and that's the stream.
Dude, the red fucking tunic. That's awesome. That's gonna make the Death Mountain, so much more palatable.
Why is Link climbing the mountain? Why is Kirk climbing the mountain?
The falling cabbages, they do nothing.
So, I guess since this might be the last stream of the year, what's your favorite book? What's your favorite game of the year?
Well, my
doesn't
favorite
have
book...
to be anything that came out this year. Just whatever
I was gonna say I don't think I've actually read anything that came. Well, no, that's not true. I read The Passenger by Cormac McCarthy. That came out this year. That was really good. My book of the year though is actually from 2004, and that was Cloud Atlas.
Is that an extremely long book?
No, it's a middle of the road book. All
right.
The only thing
I'm getting
it
confused with like Infinite Jest, I think.
Okay. The only thing about Cloud Atlas is it's a little bit deceptive because, like there's parts. So the gimmick of the book is that the author writes it in like.
Isn't it like 6 stories told at the same time?
Correct. And
okay.
there are 6 distinct narrative styles. There's like a like kind of
so
a
it's
turn of
so
the
it's
century.
Hyperion. Okay.
Yeah, there's like a turn of the century, like Old English style. There's like a spy thriller. There's sci-fi, and then though in the middle there's like a connecting bridge. So like each of the 5 original stories gets broken at the halfway point, and it's like a pyramid style. You keep working to the next story, and then you come to the bridge story. And then after the bridge story, you go back to the original stories in reverse order. So like there's actually multiple ways of reading the book, which is kind of a cool thing. But the middle section, one, it's the longest easily. But then also it's written in a style that I have to say is deliberately hard to read. It's like this futuristic, broken, uneducated English that that makes it so that like you kind of have to pause and think about what is being said, because not only do you have to pick apart the dialect, but it's kind of written like if you ever heard like a Jamaican patois, it's sort of like that. But
yeah,
in written
I read
form.
that in the Neuromancer.
Okay, cool. Yep. Yeah. Okay. So you've got, yeah, that's right. I forgot you read the Neuromancer. So it's sort of similar to that, like where you know, like a page can take you as many as like 3 or 4 minutes to get through, and there's 100 pages of it. So yeah. So the middle of the book, like kind of.
So maybe you pick an audiobook instead. It sounds like.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, as much as I love
sitting it's like
down
how
and
you get through
it,
Shakespeare, right? Instead of like trying to push your way through all that, just
right. Yes,
I get that.
Yes, and maybe that's just me. I'm sure there's people out there who like after the first couple of pages just like, oh, okay, I understand everything he's saying now. Like I was not one of those people. Like I had to like read a paragraph, then go back and like skim it again to make sure that I understood what was being communicated.
Right.
But yeah, so
another miss.
And that was kind of like, if you saw that was my gift to Christy, and I sent her a note, which kind of was my mini review of the book, which was that the first part and the middle part are kind of a slog to get through because of the styles that they're written in, but the overall narrative, like the connecting narrative of all 6 stories, is wonderfully told and beautifully emotional, and I loved it. Like taken as a whole, it was absolutely
a ringing
my
endorsement
book of the year. Yeah, I loved it very much. Probably one of my top 10 books of all time now. All right.
What's your top book of all time? Besides the Bible, right?
Das Bibel, yeah. Well, I mean, I wouldn't count any sacred text as like well, anyways. Okay, so this is so stupid because it's the same as my favorite movie, The Godfather, but only because
That's fine.
When I originally read it in high school, you know how like some people say like, "Oh, I read Harry Potter as a kid and it really opened up the world of reading for me." That was The Godfather for me.
No, I understand that.
Like I actually read the book before I saw the movie.
To it.
Yeah, I read the book before I saw the movie, even, and like it was just such a wonderfully told story. And so one easy way to like kind of cut me to the core with a story is like a good father-son story for whatever reason. Like that's kind of my what's the good way to say it? Like everyone has like the kind of story.
It particularly resonates with you.
It does, yes. And I don't know why. Like I don't have a complicated relationship with my dad. I mean, we've always just been.
Well, it's like whenever
close.
it's like when you're watching a movie with a dog and you immediately tear up. You know, it just everyone's kind of got a trigger of some kind.
Yeah, exactly. And for whatever reason, like the story of Michael and Vito just absolutely struck a chord with me, and I was like, oh wow. Not only have I read The Godfather probably 6 or 7 times, but
is it this one?
One of the few books that I will actually reread. Crap, I should look up Max and Mine's stream and just make it easier on you.
Well, there's only 2 choices left.
Yeah. But so like not that it's like necessarily like what I would consider like the greatest work of all time or the most brilliantly conceived book ever, but that it's just such a familiar and compelling story.
Sure, it was a very formative read for you. I understand that.
Yes. That's probably a better way to put it than my rambling. Okay, so I think what you want to do is go back outside and go to your bottom right, and then once you get to the peak of the mountain again, go to the far left.
You might
drop.
Yeah, you might be right.
I think that was the one that turned Max and my playthrough around.
Well, because I'm looking for a specific 2 rooms. And maybe one of them's here.
Yes, one of them will drop you over here, right. Yes. This is good.
Oh,
yes.
Gee, look at that.
Excellent.
This is one of them that I'm looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this will lead to 2 chests.
Yep, and then the one above will lead you to like the room with 5, right? Yeah. Okay.
This is primarily what we're looking for. All right.
Okay, let's roll the money.
Missiles.
And not useless, but not what we were looking for.
Yeah, I'd still refund it, but
Spark says
trade you. Go ahead.
Spark says my favorite book of all time is Redwall. It's a children's book with murder and war, but it really got me into
this is the one about the mice, isn't it? Right?
I don't know.
It's about like a bunch of mice in a church who are knights.
I don't know about Redwall, to be honest.
Is it?
We'll wait for Sparks' respond. Yeah, she said yes, all caps. You got it.
Okay. Is it worth reading?
Well, apparently she loves it.
Sparks, if you've loved Redwall, did you happen to see the game on Steam that's based on Redwall called, what is it, Tales of Iron?
Okay, don't know about that either. Spark says mice in a church, but only one is a warrior.
Okay, I was at least familiar with it. But yeah, it's like a 2D, like Dark Souls-esque finger quotes
okay.
game that I believe was based on Redwall.
Spark's response is that she hasn't heard of it, but I'm guessing she will after tonight. All right, open them up.
All right, and this is what we came here for, Chris.
All right.
It's another missile. This was a bad idea.
Oh no.
Oh, God is dead.
Oh no. I mean, all right, but no. What a bummer.
You've wasted your lives.
Go fuck yourself. Go to the top and see what's waiting for you on that mountain platform. Just to satisfy my curiosity.
There's one more, because remember, there's like a single treasure chest.
You're right.
We can get yet, and I think that's the one you're talking about on the far left.
And that's the one that'll finally have the sword.
We massively whiffed this. This was such a waste.
Spark says it's a beautifully written series with a lot of lore. It doesn't dumb anything down. There really is murder in the books, but it's still somehow friendlier. You know, and that's kind of what I was saying about the Ninja Turtles movie when we watched it the other day. My favorite kind of stories that I remember most fondly from my childhood are the ones that did not condescend.
Yes, they did not talk down to their audience.
Exactly. I mean, the Ninja Turtles is very clearly a children's movie, but at the same time, like, in its own weird way, there's lessons to be learned from it. It doesn't shy away from the kung fu. And, I mean, it's just a good story.
I still get a little choked up each time they hold that seance and summon Splinter at the farm. The farmhouse is some of the best stuff in that movie.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great bridge arc. I mean, the action slowed to a crawl, but it was just really potent to see the Ninja Turtles grow as people. That's not funny.
I am sorry that I've wasted everybody's time tonight.
Stream is canceled. Have a good New Year, everybody.
Streams are canceled for the rest of 2022. Please plan accordingly. Have a nice night. Drive safely. Tip your waitress.
Oh, God. Oh, what a bummer. Well, you know, it would have been kind of disappointing if it had been the exact same result as Max's run.
Yeah, we all can't be Max's run, can we?
So I'm thinking maybe Zora's River or a dungeon.
Oh, we can't get to Zora's River. We don't have a power glove.
Second time I've encouraged you to do that, and you can't.
Yeah. At this point, we...
Hyrule Castle dungeon? There's a couple easy chests there.
There's a kid in Kakariko.
Oh, the jar kid, yeah.
Yeah, who wants to see our bottle. So.
Sparks is trying to cheer you up. It's okay. It's a nice run anyway.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Question for Sparks here. If you enjoyed Redwall, have you ever heard of the book series The Chronicles of Prydain?
I've not heard of it.
Now, Chris, I think I've mentioned this to you before. The Chronicles of Prydain is what the Black Cauldron was based on.
Oh, yes, I remember you talking about that, but I always get it confused with what is it, Black Company, the fantasy series?
Black Company was very much written for adults.
Okay.
Chronicles of Prydain was written for children, but like you said, did not condescend to its audience.
Cool. Sparks wants to know how you spell it.
Pryadin. You can also just type in book series The Black Cauldron was based on. More people are going to know it by that.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Well, hey, going back to this topic, because I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Well, you just mentioned Black Company. You've sealed your fate, but I'll pull us back.
Well, so I wanted to know, one, and I'm going to take your question and kick it up a notch. What's your favorite book? And then, alternatively, what is the book that you consider that you consider to be the best? Two separate questions.
You have uncorked a bottle here.
Yes, please. Yes, because I'm always looking for more to read.
My favorite book of all time is The Black Company. Funny that you should mention it.
Cool. I'm really going to have to look that up now.
It is a wonderful tale of a mercenary squad in a bleak world that's ruled by 10 all-powerful wizards.
Mm-hmm.
And they do not try to fix things. They do not try to make life better. They actively try to avoid... Yeah, they actively try to avoid getting on anybody's bad side. And it's just a story about them trying to eke out a living amongst all these ultra-powerful sorcerers and staying out of their way.
Awesome.
It literally has one of my favorite scenes in all literature in it, where essentially two of their wizards are working with one of these wizards called the Taken, and they set up this huge elaborate trap to put a bounty on the rebel leader's head.
Okay.
And it is one of the funnest chapters in literature I've ever read.
Oh,
and
interesting.
It's just a rollicking good time.
Okay. Cool.
I can't recommend it enough.
I was going to say, you've sold The Black Company to me before, but I've really got to take it seriously now that I know it's your favorite of all time.
It is a book that I reread at least once a year. That is my ultimate fun comfort book. Now, if you want to know what I think is the best book of all time, that used to be Dune.
Okay.
Dune, and we've talked about that a bit on channel. That has been dethroned, strangely enough, by a book my sister Angelina recommended, Shadow of the Torturer.
Shadow of the Torturer. I know I've heard you say that before, but I can't remember.
The book, I described it very poorly on stream on Bigfoot. But essentially, what Shadow of the Torturer is, without giving too much away, is it's about a young man named Severian who is an apprentice torturer and his coming-of-age story in a bizarre world. The book is listed as high fantasy finger quotes. Now, you have to say finger quotes because otherwise you'll ruin the twist.
Okay.
It is one of the most mind-bending genre benders that has ever been written, and it was written in the 70s.
Wow, okay.
Gene Wolfe does this really neat thing where he plays with language. He's throwing a bunch of words at you that sound like Latin, but when you actually look them up, the Latin does not translate correctly. This is intentional. And once you figure out the twist, because I don't want to ruin it...
Yeah, thank you.
Here's the thing. You can figure out the twist and the book is better for it, you cannot figure out the twist and you still have an incredibly fun romp. So it doesn't matter if you pick up on it or not. I will say you do have to read the entire series at least once so that you can fully understand, oh, I understand like what all these things mean now. Now I can put them in the proper context.
Gotcha.
Does that make any?
Yeah, it does. And honestly, that's kind of the Cloud Atlas model that I love so much.
Yes. One of the things I loved in particular about it is it's written by Gene Wolfe, who I love as a writer. He's a very devout Catholic, and it's him trying to examine his Catholic faith through the lens of the main character, Severian.
Okay.
And if all that doesn't sell you on the book,
yeah,
there's a duel where two guys start wailing on each other with flowers. So,
well,
in one of the most riveting duels
I've
ever read.
That's awesome.
So there you go, Shadow of the Torturer.
Man.
Go pick it up at your Barnes and Nobles.
Okay, so I've got two things for you here. First off, Spark says, the best is hard to say. I enjoy a lot of books that would definitely be considered not even that good, but I love them.
Well, that's Black Company.
Well, yeah, so here's the thing, though, Sparks. I consider that to be a much better endorsement than people who pick, like, from, I don't know, Don Quixote and To Kill a Mockingbird or something. You know? well, but like the literary classics that like everyone would consider to be like the best novels of all time. Like I want to know.
Yeah, we'll just do this.
Fucking shit. What is your best novel of all time? And so yeah, that's good to hear. Just like Nick's picks.
By the way, Chris, these are the elevators I was talking about that sprite is based on.
Oh, interesting.
So if you change the sprite color of these elevators in an editor, it will change his color.
Oh, weird.
Weird.
That is really
I mean,
weird.
In all honesty, I'll probably end up picking up Redwall next year for an audiobook read.
I'm really curious.
Because Sparks recommended it, so...
Oh, I was going to say, I the whole time she was saying it, I was thinking Connor's probably ready for something like that. I would definitely give it to him.
Ooh, yeah, that, or like I was saying, Chronicles of Bredane. Those are both, like you said, books that won't condescend to their audience, but have an important message.
Because, like, on the one hand, I do feel like culturally we've become much more sensitive to what is appropriate and inappropriate for children, and I kind of appreciate that. But on the other hand, like, I don't want it dumbed down so much that, like, you know, they turn 10 or 13 or something. It's like, hey, by the way, all that stuff you learned when you were a kid is bullshit. The world sucks.
Like, you might have a problem here without the gravity boots.
Oh, interesting. Oh, wait,
oh,
nope.
Thank God.
You're
thank God I'm
awesome.
so good at this game.
Spark says, hold that thought on audiobooks. Nice. Okay, so going back to my take on it then, I mentioned that my favorite book of all time is the same answer as my favorite movie, The Godfather, just because of what it meant to me personally. But what I would consider to be the greatest book, period, like...
Is the Bible?
Thank you, Nick. Yes, I'm a pastor, I get it. Okay, so... Like,
but your answer's not going to be the Bible.
No, it's not. Of course not. And not because it's not a universal read. Like, it means something to me that doesn't.
I get that.
Okay. Anyways, so I actually have like a tie for my top like most expertly crafted universally acclaimed book, and the first one is probably a safer pick, which is 1984 by Orwell. Like, it's just there's a reason it's as loved as it is. And I don't even need to tell you about it. But then the other one is one that you might not have read, but has equal acclaim within its own circles, but hasn't been as relevant recently. And that is I, Claudius. And I don't know if you've read that one before.
This doesn't sound familiar to me.
Okay, so I, Claudius is by Robert Graves. I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it was written in like the 20s or 30s or something like that. And it's written as a facsimile of an autobiography of Roman Emperor Claudius. And it's...
kind of like Of Human Bondage.
Yeah.
Except it's not about Maugham Somerset.
Okay, yeah. I don't know. And, like, I don't know what I can say about it that, like, perfectly captures why I think it's so good, but it's one of those books that, like, as I was reading it, not only was I enjoying it, but I could absolutely appreciate that this is just a masterful work. It kind of goes through Claudius's upbringing. I think he's the it's been a while since I've read it, so forgive me. He's the grandson, I think, of Mark Antony, and he was like written off as like a mentally frail person as a child, and I mean, it's just a brilliant book that kind of covers his life and story. Like he's the one who calls out Nero when he's about to like eat it, and it's well, so you get like so it's kind of like the whole package. Like Claudius is a fascinating figure. You have the backdrop of Roman partisan politics and like assassination attempts on Nero and all that good stuff.
Written in the 1920s, you said?
1920s or 30s. It was
okay,
early.
So this
it was
would
early
have been, like,
20th
way
century.
Ahead of its time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It's fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then I don't know the whole story, but there's like editions of the book that have additions. Like there's this whole segment called Claudius the God that I don't think was originally part of it, and that covers Claudius's reign. Like the original novel, I think, and again, forgive me because I don't know the whole history. I only read it once and just it stuck with me. It is like Claudius's ascent, and then it was so well received, I guess, that he added to the piece with Claudius's reign, and it's well worth reading. Like it kind of hits every base, and it does it well. It's historic, it's fiction, it's political intrigue, it's assassinations, it's just good stuff. And on top of that, it's now considered almost 100 years later like a literary masterpiece as well. But like 1984, it's acclaimed for a reason.
Now, did you say that was your favorites?
No. Godfather's my favorite.
Oh, right.
Claudius is probably what I would consider to be like my favorite of like the masterworks sort of stuff.
I gotcha. Yeah. I gotcha.
Like what I would objectively consider to be the best novel I've ever read, even if it's not my favorite. Oh, Sparks adds, get it from your local library. Here's the Audible link. Okay, I'm going to send that to you, Nick, so that you can check out Redwall.
Wait, you can't get it from your local library and Audible, right?
Well, so she says get it from your local library, but if you can't find it, she gave you the Audible link.
Yes. Because, yeah.
Ooh.
I think Sparks is in Ohio, right? Because I think with the Ohio library system, you can get most of those audiobooks for free.
Nice.
Unless Audible has an exclusivity deal, is what it is.
I don't know, but what she's recommending, I missed this message from her. She said, for the love of all things that are holy, please find the full cast audio recording of Redwall. Okay.
Yes, that's similar to what they did with Dune. Yeah, I know 100% what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. And she says yes, through the Libby. Yep.
Yes, okay, yep. No. We're very well acquainted, Libby and... Well, I think they're phasing out Libby in favor of Hoopla in our state.
Oh, really? Because I remember when we were in college what a big deal Libby was.
Yeah, I think Libby's on the way out, because I don't know if they can control, like, when your books, like, can be checked out or whatever. Because I know that I found a workaround where I could keep my Libby books indefinitely on an iPod, and I don't think they like that.
Sparks reminds me of something interesting here. She says, read the comment before that, which I also ignored. Sorry, Sparks. She says, Redwall has one of the best audiobooks. It has a full cast recording with Brian Jacques as the narrator and Martin the Warrior.
Those names aren't familiar to me, and that takes a lot of doing to get me not to know an Audible narrator.
I've heard enough audiobooks that I've probably heard Brian Jacques before, but you're going to have to help me out too, Sparks. She says they're phasing out Overdrive in favor of Libby. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Overdrive is gone. That's yeah. I'm very bitter about that, because Overdrive is what I'd use to hide those on my iPod. Because here's the thing, is like, if I'm reading the memoirs of Ulysses S. Grant, I can't finish that in 2.5 weeks, Libby.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then be put back on the waiting list for 5 weeks to get it again?
Sparks clarifies Brian Jacques is the author. So
Okay.
It's one of those things where the author actually does the reading. You know, it's kind of funny because I enjoy a good Stephen King novel, and he's actually done a couple readings of his own audiobooks, which is kind of cool. He's an interesting dude, King.
Stephen King, yeah, he's. I
mean,
he's
got some truly high highs and some truly low lows, but like because
he's a very
of that,
human character.
He is. Oh yeah, totally. Like, and I enjoy him for that exact reason. Did you ever re-equip the ice beam?
Yeah.
Yes, you did. Okay. Just making sure, because I noticed there was a lot of those floating yellow goobers.
We'll get him. No worries.
Yeah. No. King's a weird dude, to be sure, but I think he would be complimented by being called a weird dude.
Let's see if I remember how to do this correctly.
You had it right. She just didn't crouch when she came through the door. It can be difficult to get her to crouch at the opportune time.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool that this was like a secret that you could do and stuff, but...
Well, it was the original Shine Spark puzzle. Like later Metroids would all try to... Oh, come on, that was bullshit. Later Metroids would all try to, like, duplicate this in, like, increasingly complex ways, but... I'm sorry, I don't want them to be too complex, just...
I don't think it necessarily needs to be complex. It just needs to... I mean, like, they tried to make it more complex, but nothing was ever more infuriating than some of the ones in this game.
Exactly, yeah. And that's actually one of my principal criticisms about Metroid Dread, is some of these Shine Spark puzzles were just obnoxious.
Well, that's kind of helpful.
Yeah, like I said, Link and Samus both need to be more durable eventually, so that's not bad, but...
We need to be careful here because we don't have gravity boots yet.
Right, yeah, all you have is the wall jump and a prayer. Though actually, if I'm not mistaken, like, because of Meridia's, like, water mechanic, she gets a higher jump than usual anyways, right?
I don't think that's correct.
Oh, really? Okay.
Nope.
Gotcha.
I'm surprised I pulled that off.
Yeah, well done.
Oh, there's nothing there. Okay.
I thought there was.
Just a waste of time.
No, there's the one where you come in from the other side.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, it's just some of the stuff here just kind of bleeds together.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's not worth coming in from the other side. The bomb crisis in Link to the Past is long since over.
The great bomb shortage of the first 3 minutes of Legend of Zelda.
Oh man. Oh, dude, we should do like a whole episode of like a something else or something where we just talk books, because
this is a good stream to do that, because I mean we've literally played all these games on stream before.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, that's right. I did Super Metroid with Max and Link to the Past with you, and now we're both doing both of them together, which is kind of cool.
strange little world.
Yep.
Little bit of book trivia here for you. What novel was 1984 based on?
Oh, this I don't know. Interesting.
You're not gonna believe this.
It's not gonna be something stupid like War of the Worlds, right? Because
Game of Thrones.
Yeah, Game of Thrones, totally. He looked in the future and he ripped off what's his face?
George R. Martin.
Yeah, for some reason I couldn't remember his name.
Well,
and that's not me being, hipster dismissive. Like, I just haven't read any of Martin's stuff.
He's a good writer. I just wish, I don't know. He's a good writer. I just don't really like what he writes. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Like, you can appreciate his style without being super into his content.
I read the entire Game of Thrones series, and I mean, the first one was great. The second one was pretty good. About the third one is where it just kind of got. Okay.
Well, so I was gonna say,
it's like where he knew what was gonna make him easy money at that point.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, every single time that I walk into Morgenstern's, the bookstore that I took you guys to, I always see this lovely leather-bound gift pack of the first 3 novels, and I think, boy, wouldn't that look good on my shelf? And I'm like, that's a fucking shitty reason to buy a book, Chris.
A very good reason to buy a book.
Nice. I almost think they counted on people coming in here without the high jump boots.
How do I get to the turtle room?
Oh, I don't know. Without the high jump boots. I mean, you do have the grappling hook, which is gonna get you through the upper floor.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, okay.
It was much easier than I thought.
Roger that. But yeah, so basically what I do, essentially... Oh yeah, the turtle. What I do these days is I will walk into a bookstore and just as one of the things that I do like for my mental health on a day off, I will just look at random books and take pictures of the ones that I find even remotely interesting. Just keep them in my backlog for future reads.
Ooh,
that was almost really impressive. Ooh.
Almost the story of my life. This is gonna be the subline to my autobiography.
Nick.
Almost impressive.
Almost impressive. A Nick Weber story. A story of intrigue and revenge in Northwest Ohio.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Does Samus's suit, do you think, have like some kind of puke reservoir?
I'm hoping there's something that like equalizes the 0G.
Yeah, right? Because otherwise she's got to be throwing up a lot in there. It's kind of like Darth Vader's suit, where like everyone has always asked the question, is he pooping in there? He's got to be, right?
You know, you can say a lot about Brandon Sanderson. He at least addressed that in Way of Kings.
I loved that bit. Yeah, that was
you're right. You're right. It's the second book, Words of Radiance,
which is where all of the best stuff from that series comes from. Words of Radiance.
Okay, there is something up there.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Adolin was just like, yeah, I've straight up pooped my armor before. Not a big deal.
It happens.
Hey,
get out of here!
All right, that's something. Gonna be kind of hard to
we
get.
We can at least clear the Tower of Hera now.
Yeah. Assuming you can get it.
This.
I see what
okay,
you're gonna do. Cool.
It respawns so quickly.
It does. Yeah, that stupid hole in the wall. Oh no, it didn't. Hey, cool, nice.
Ooh, boy. 3 hours in, but we finally got Link's fighter sword. Okay, that's progress.
Yeah, it's something.
Progress. It's not going to change the way we game, but it's something.
Sparks comments, looking good on a shelf is the only selling point of some books.
He's not wrong.
Okay, so let me ask yet another question. What almost universally beloved book do you consider utter rubbish?
That's such a good question. I just spilled beer all over myself.
Do you want mine while you're thinking?
Yes, please.
Okay, get ready for this, because you might fervently disagree, and I would completely understand if you did. Moby Dick. I can't stand it.
Moby Dick could have been a short story.
Absolutely.
You're not wrong.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Moby Dick could have been told in 100 pages instead of 500, depending on what edition you have.
Yeah, I agree with that. It had some good stuff to it, but it was basically a 20-hour commercial for the New England Whaling Company.
It was such a strange books. Spark says half the books we had to read for high school honors English class. Okay, to this day, another side story while I'm on this topic. To this day, I can't read anything about like American colonial / slave trade days, simply because in elementary school, nice solution. I feel like that was like 90% of what they made us read.
Yeah, we could do that too. I see what you're saying now, Chris.
Yep. and
let's do that instead.
And it's not that it's like like I don't consider it an important topic to engage with, but when you're 10 years old and like every single like history and English class that you've taken has made you read something about like how horrible life was on the prairie and like how unfairly slaves in America were treated, which again, full disclaimer, they completely were. Like I can't engage with that genre anymore. And
sure,
it actually turned me off reading until I read The Godfather. Like in high school, like I was one of those people that just couldn't sit down with a book.
No, I understand that completely. It kind of took all the fun out of it.
It did. Like it absolutely. So like Nick, in our college days, you remember good old MC, right? And that's how I refer to her. Okay. So MC, I think, was a wonderful teacher. But she made us read Corregidora. And like I actually sat down with her and I was like, MC, I'm actually really enjoying your class. Like I know that you're kind of a tough prof to some people, and that's totally cool. I'm gonna warn you in advance, like my take on Corregidora is not in any way, shape, or form going to be indicative of my academic capabilities because, like, I just can't engage with this genre. It was beaten into my head senselessly as a child. And, like, to this day, like, as soon as people start talking about, like, the horrible conditions that African Americans have had in this country, like if it's a speech, I can absolutely absorb it. If it's a book, I'm just going to like go on autopilot.
Your eyes will glaze over.
Yes,
it's like when someone tries to explain how to play euchre to me.
Yeah, and to her credit, she looked me square in the eye and she says, "I appreciate your honesty. You still got to read
it." The only real correct answer, right?
Yeah, and I would have been, you know, probably turned off if she had said anything else. But again, to her credit, she made me read it, but she was understanding with the fact that like this is not a story that's going to resonate with me in the way that it is a lot of other people, simply because I'm so burnt out on it.
Chris, I just blanked out. Did I tell you what the book was that 1984 was based on?
Yes.
Okay, right. Did I?
Yeah, you did. Hold on.
What did I say it was?
Oh my gosh, wait, give me 1 second. Wait, did you answer that question? Say it again.
I don't think I did.
Oh, go ahead.
So the book that son of a bitch. The book that 1984 was based on is a book called We.
Oh, no, you didn't say that. Sorry.
And it is a Soviet novel written in the 1920s about a shipyard of spaceship builders.
Weird.
This is what 1984 was based on.
That's very interesting.
Especially because it was a Soviet novel.
Yeah, for real. Like, considering where Orwell went with it, which was essentially a rebuke of, like, the Soviet inclinations of modernity.
Well, he had a lot to say about the West as well.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So 2 quick things to get us caught up here. Sparks continues, maybe you can help her remember the name of a book. It was one of the classics about a Chinese man who was terrible to his wife and had a younger concubine. Ooh, I don't know.
That's kind of vague. There was a lot of people in China before Mao took over.
Yeah, right? You sure it wasn't just like a blog post? Sorry, Sparks. No, I don't know that one. Yeah. I'll have to think about that. It might be something I've read before and just I'm completely blanking, but...
My knowledge of Chinese literature is unfortunately rather lacking. I've read...
Yeah, you know... Go ahead.
I was going to say, I've read Wild Swans, which was wonderful, and then I read Forgotten Ally, which was about essentially everything China did to help win World War II that we never talk about.
That's weird.
Yeah, they basically piled up the bodies in front of the Japanese war machine.
So,
very heroically, mind you. Like, I mean, they put like 20 million casualties on the board in order just to pin the Japanese down in that theater. It was a brutal, brutal war there.
Yeah, I imagine so. So what I was going to say to you was that in a horrible twist, like the majority of novels that I've read concerning Chinese culture or folklore or anything like that were all written by white people, which is just horrible.
Good old George Bernard Lewis.
Yeah, I've not read like any. Well, I'm sure I have, but like any authentic Chinese novels that I can remember. Oh man!
Hey, whites get it done, and canceled.
And canceled. Oh man!
All right, well that was horrible. Let's see. Yeah, let's go up. Let's go up. Oh, okay, we can go this route to get into the Dark World eventually.
Oh, Sparks continues. She said, I know he had a farm and the title was something about the sun, which weirdly rings a bell with me.
Yes, it wasn't...
This is probably not the one she's thinking of, and I vaguely remember in college reading I See the Sun in China, but honestly, that was kind of during my weed phase, and I couldn't tell you what it was about to this day. It was a Prof Todd pick.
Yeah, you could get by. Yeah. You just kind of like with Prof Todd's classes. Don't get me wrong, I love the man, spent a lot of time with them, but you just basically say agency, colonialism, and
Yeah,
you
right.
pass the class.
Yeah, and I don't even know if it was by like a Chinese author, and I don't think it was what Sparks described. I think it was about like a young girl who went to live with her aunt or something like that. I don't know, but yeah. She continues also. That was another high school honors English class assigned reading that I wanted to throw across the room. Pretty sure this one was written by some white guy too. Oh, well maybe, because I'm pretty sure I See the Sun in China wasn't written by a actual Chinese person. But I also, like I said, I'm not the go-to source on this. I don't remember a lot about it.
You know, Chris, if we get one more sword, we'll have a master sword and we can go kill Aghanim. Oh, but we won't have Pegasus boots, so we can't get our gravity boots.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
Spark says the good Earth, all caps. Okay, that was it.
Oh, see, I wouldn't have guessed that. I was going to guess Land of the Rising Sun, but that's about the World War II as well.
The Good Earth is a children's book? Because I feel like I've heard of that before, and I don't remember it being a children's book.
I thought there was a third item down here. Whatever. Welcome to Book Talk.
Yeah, right? Welcome to Book Talk on Play the Heads. She says, what? No. Wait, hold on. I think we got our wires crossed somewhere, Sparks. Oh, okay. So when she started talking about that, she wasn't saying necessarily oh, okay. I completely misunderstood what you're saying. I thought you were relating it to your earlier pick. So I See the Sun in China is a children's book.
Okay.
But again, like, I don't know anything else.
I think next time I'm gonna keep, I'm gonna open up my laptop just so I can keep chat up in a window, so you don't have to do it all yourself, Chris.
No, you're good. I just misunderstood the point Sparks was making. So this was a high school honors English pick for her, and I, for whatever reason, like in my brain thought she was marrying the topic to the earlier topic about children's books that don't condescend to their readers.
You know, I never took a single AP class in high school. I just barely slinked by, in all honesty.
Mm-hmm.
I would take entire weeks off just because I was tired of going to class.
Weirdly enough, AP English was the only AP class I took because the teacher at the time. Yeah, the teacher at the time insisted I take it, and like you said, Nick, in high school I was very much the same. Where like I just didn't want to engage critically with anything we were doing because I was just trying to survive. But like she saw my composition stuff and she said, okay, you really need to be in AP and not like regular, which
you'll either take this AP class or I'm going to make life that much more difficult for you.
Yeah, honestly, she like that's kind of the ultimatum she gave me. She's like, you can take the AP class with other students who understand the material like you do, or you can take the regular class and I'm going to give you the AP work anyway. I'm like, all right, fine. And I'm glad she did, because that helped motivate me a little bit. But yeah, I completely sympathize with what you're saying.
Mine was just mostly I just couldn't be bothered with most of high school.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe slightly different reasons, but
yeah, Sparks did AP English and AP History to try to save money at college, and you know I wish I had that kind of foresight. Instead, what I did was when I got to Defiance College, you remember like there were certain classes you could test out of, Nick?
Yes.
I tested out of composition and one other one, I forget what. Yeah, that was nice. Those were essentially free credits.
Do you want like a little analogy of like how little Nicholas changed between his time at DC and Northwest State?
Fucking hell, it's always 20 rupees. Go ahead.
There's another one here, so there might still be hope. How do I get over here?
I think you gotta shine Spark from the bottom.
Yeah, you're right. At DC, like they wouldn't let me test out of anything or transfer over any credits, and like I was
they wouldn't let you test out?
Huh?
They wouldn't let you test out?
Get out of here, damn slug face.
I was gonna say, I feel like they actively encouraged us to test out of some stuff. Oh
no,
there was like those stupid courses. I remember what the other one was. There were the stupid ones that basically taught you how to use Microsoft Office. Do you remember that shit?
Yes, they would let you test out of those because those are the easy ones. Like, oh yeah, well, I mean, we let you test out of those, but no, we can't let you test out of English. You know, that was the gimme. That was the $20 and $100 steak on the menu to make you think the $50 steak wasn't such a bad idea. You know what I mean?
Right. Son of a bitch. You're just
what
fucking
are the
with you
odds?
now.
So anyways, yeah, Nicholas just kind of meekly and mildly accepted that, like, oh, okay. And then when I finally got to Northwest State for my real degree in accounting, I was like, I'll take my fucking ball and go home right now.
That's awesome.
You can let me test out of English and history, or I'll just leave. You know, your choice. You can either let me take my $1,000 here in course credits, or you can lose your 3,000. I don't fucking care.
That's right. That's right. Sparks writes, what? They let people test out and not get money? One of the few extraordinarily positive things I will say about DC.
No, I think we've answered this question, Chris, right?
Is that because it is a small liberal arts school, the focus wasn't entirely on churning out money, which, don't get me wrong, it probably is now. It's been 12 years since we've been there, right? 13 years, oh my god. So yeah, I mean, like, things change. But at the same time, like, I will give them credit. Like I said, I wanted to test out of college comp because I wouldn't have gotten anything out of it, and they let me do it. So,
I mean, they'll let you test out, but they're gonna make it as hard as possible. So, I mean, they didn't do it with a smile, that's for sure.
Sure, but it was also extraordinarily easy. Like, and that's not me saying, "Oh, look how smart I am." That's just like one of my rare areas where I consider myself naturally inclined is with writing.
Yeah, do that some more. Yeah, come on,
I've always
keep doing
just had a good way of putting my thoughts on paper, which is interesting because speaking, sometimes I can barely get a coherent thought out, but yeah.
That's honestly kind of another reason I like this channel, is going back and listening to what I say so I can have a better idea of where, like, my vocal slips are.
Right?
No, seriously, this has helped me out, honestly, in a lot of occasions.
No, I believe you. That's kind of one of the interesting things. Like, I actually sometimes go back and listen to some of the early Play the Hits episodes, and it's so funny because, like, right now, this is essentially how I talk in real life. But our first
I got a missile in here with your name on it. I'm gonna keep firing until I find out which one it is.
Nice. But like my first probably year of recording this channel with Max and then you when you eventually came on, I feel like it was much more forced. Like I felt like I had to have like a topic in mind, and like I would have bits that I would keep in my brain for later use and like try to somehow finagle them into the conversation. Not so much these days. Sparks says, I can see you being good at comp. I appreciate that, Sparks, because it's one of the few things I do that I genuinely take pride in. I can... Oh, no!
Oh, I see what this is.
I can write down good words. Of course. I write good words on the papers.
There we go. Okay.
Do you want to go for the boss?
No. And, class, can you tell me why we can't go for the boss?
You need the space jump?
Yes,
yeah, because you're supposed to get the space jump here, yeah.
There's no way we can get out of Kraid's Dragon's Lair.
You're right, yeah.
We don't even have bombs to bomb our way up.
You're right. That would be
so we're going to have to take our chances in the Dark World,
yeah, I was going to say, fortunately, this is where you can enter Link to the Past, right? The Dark World should give us ample opportunity to pick some stuff up. Assuming we can get these assholes out of the way.
These giant sea cabbages.
Sparks writes the lag has started. Rest in peace, Internet. Sorry, Sparks.
No. Well, I mean,
viewer.
That was a good 45 minutes before technical issues, right?
Yeah, hey, not bad overall.
God damn it, Amaranth, you're eating up all the bandwidth.
What does she have that we don't have? I still ask you. What's Amaran got going for her that Chris and Nick don't?
Amaran has shard plate going for him. That's what he's got.
Did I say Amaran or Amaranth?
You said Amaran, not Amaranth.
Awesome. And yes, he does have shard plate. Gave his sword away like a chump, though.
Let us have a cup of tea.
Was I the one who found it immensely satisfying when Adolin just stabbed him to death?
You know, it's funny because if you were going to ask me what my favorite book of the year was, it might have actually been The Way of
Rhythm of War,
Kings.
or Way of Kings.
Yeah, Way of Kings. It would have been a Sanderson novel, perhaps. Yes, I think you and I briefly talked about this. It was satisfying because of how chaotic it was. Like, in a series where everything is so planned and plotted,
Yeah.
Adolin just decides that he's gonna snap and does the most logical thing in the world.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna kill this fucker right now.
Right? Like let's just get it out of the way so that he can't. Yeah, so that he can't keep fucking over my family. Like
no, and here's the thing: it was the right decision.
Absolutely. Like not
after
only
Amaranth's like, oh boy, you think I've made your father's life bad now? I just love that he just does the most human thing imaginable.
Absolutely.
Like, absolutely, I will kill him.
Not only did Sadius like make an ass out of himself, and Sanderson spend 2 whole novels making you hate him, but like it actually made sense in a weird way for for Adolin to do that.
Yeah.
And it was kind of funny too because Sanderson sort of broke the rules a little bit there because Adolin was supposed to be the golden boy up to that point.
Yes.
And like he's like the moral compass, like the
this is Sanderson at his best.
Yeah, the
like
character that you always expect to do the right thing, and instead he just kind of gives way to his emotions and kills Sadius. And I thought that was a cool move. I wish that the rest of the series surprised and entertained me quite the same way that did, but you know, like he's still in a weird way riding on my goodwill from that.
That's kind of, would you say, peak Sanderson at that?
God damn.
Oh wow,
They're
what's
really
worse than 20 rupees.
I wouldn't say
like
we've hit
the
a
last
wall, but
really good thing that happened in that series. Well,
let me think here.
I don't know. Like book 3 had Dalinar's backstory. That was good.
I was gonna say I enjoyed actually finally getting some closure.
But here's the thing: is I suspect that Dalinar's as well as Shallan's stories were all written long ago, and he just threaded them into book 3.
Yes, absolutely.
Like that was too good to be a part of his Rhythm of War stuff.
And then
if we're hurting for content, I want to talk about something in book 4 very briefly.
Go ahead, because I have something to say about Rhythm of War too.
Okay, so here's something I kind of want to talk about Brandon Sanderson being a good writer, but giving way to his passions, if you will. So I was thinking about this today. You remember the part at the end of book 4 where Kaladin jumps off the tower to save his father?
Yes.
Okay. That is such a weird logical paradox to me because everything in the tower is being built up to make Kaladin a level 4 paladin.
Mm-hmm.
And then he becomes that and he saves his father, right? Because the whole point of book 4 was to get Kaladin to forgive himself for Tien's death, which he does when he jumps off the tower.
Yeah, which is one thing, admittedly, that I thought was necessary.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, from a writing perspective, you've locked yourself into a bit of a paradox because you cannot have that be the capstone to Kaladin's story in a situation because, like, the monkey runs away if I take damage.
I totally forgot all about that. You might want to get your silver arrows out and just decimate
yeah,
some
let's
bitches.
just waste these guys. Now, here's the thing, though. You have a situation in the tower that requires a bloodbath to liberate it. You cannot have this touching moment with Kaladin forgiving himself for his brother's death and then immediately start turning on the blood fountains, right? And then immediately start slaughtering everybody.
I would have loved if Sanderson juxtaposed Kaladin's saving of his father with an immediate part where he puts his dad down on the ground and starts slaughtering hordes of troops in front of his father. And his dad just like, oh God, why didn't you let me die, son?
Son, I've never been so proud of you. Thank you, father. Now, Kaladin said as he unfastened his spear.
My revenge.
And that's when the bloodletting began.
Yep. Oh God, I would have loved if Liren witnessed him decapitate the pursuer. Or did
but
he?
Yeah, it's just one of those things, like, you've locked yourself into this, like, logic paradox of, in order to solve this situation, it must be paid for in blood, but after that heartwarming moment, you can't do that.
Yep, absolutely. So actually, what I was going to say, what one of the other few, so there were I think 3 parts of Rhythm of War that I truly enjoyed. The first is what you said. Kaladin's kind of redemption arc for failing Tian, which again, he took way too long to get there, but I thought it was kind of really
the beautiful moment that he wrote 4 years ago and finally had a chance to shove in something.
Yeah, I was gonna say I felt like he could have done it a lot sooner than he did, but whatever. The second one, which I think I've heard you say before, I actually really enjoyed the bits with Adolin and his sword. Help me out here.
Mira,
thank you.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Like that was
courtroom
unique
scene was masterful.
Yeah, that was awesome, and like her like defying the rules and like speaking, that was cool. So that was neat. And then the last one, actually, you were talking about like how you can clearly see how Sanderson wrote like the main plot like 10 years ago.
Yes.
And now he's taking 5 novels that are over a million pages each to flesh them out. But one that you could tell he added later because he didn't expect this character to be as well liked as she was. I actually kind of enjoyed getting to know Navani a bit more.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though.
Because in the first book, I had her written off as like almost an antagonist. I was like, oh, she's trying to get something from Dalinar.
Yes,
but the truth is,
I was
she wasn't.
expecting that.
She's a brilliant mind who is underappreciated, and I kind of like seeing like into her lab and stuff like that.
Here's the flaw with her character: is that she's just basically another. Shoot, help me out. What's her daughter's name?
Yasna.
Yasna. Yasna never should have been brought back. Never.
I thought that would have actually been better for the plot, and not because I dislike Yasna, but she's
Yasna's fine. But you've got her mom, and they're essentially the same character, underappreciated, like scholar badasses.
I completely agree, but the difference being that Navani has like room to surprise you and grow, whereas Yasna doesn't. Yasna started out brilliant and perfect in every way, and she has essentially remained brilliant and perfect in every way. Her one flaw being that she's too brilliant, and it gets in the way of her success.
Right.
Which again, whatever. Like I love the part where she straight up like coaxes
she's brilliant, but lacks none of the social graces necessary to advance in her circles.
Right.
Yeah.
I enjoyed the part where she coaxed that idiot into like challenging her to a duel and humiliated him.
Oh yes, and immediately murdering him.
That was fun, but at the same time, it was just another incidence of Yasna being so awesome that no one is prepared for how awesome she is.
And then they immediately yanked the teeth on that scene by having by then saving
where he
his
lives.
life.
Yeah, he's alive.
Like, fuck you.
Oh, I wouldn't actually kill him. I'm too smart to give over to my emotions and just kill someone in cold blood. Come on, have some flaws.
And that's one of the big problems I have about this series is that for a book. Go ahead.
No, you first, because I want to hear your take on it. And I'll tell you what I thought should have happened.
Here's the thing: is you want to have this. You want to have a book for young adults and adults to enjoy, but you want to talk about a war. You want to talk about the complications of civilization and the realities of war and slavery. Here's the thing: is Sanderson always just kind of pulls the teeth out of the monsters that he creates.
Yeah, kind of.
Do you remember that there's slavery in Alethkar?
Yeah,
but we never talk about it.
Yeah, because the characters that he focuses on from the Parshendi or the singers are always the ones who are the exceptions instead of the norm. Like Relaine, I like Relaine, but he's not indicative of the fact that his people are enslaved and not respected and everything. And then, what's her name? Who I could have cared less about.
Venli.
Venli.
Yeah.
Oh, Venli was stupid. I did not care for Venli.
I would take it back though. I mean, you set up this complicated world of men aren't allowed to read. You can have slaves, and there's rules on the slaves. But in the grand scheme of, or there's also this war going on, but in the grand scheme of things, none of this matters. None of this ever comes up. Do you see what I'm saying? I mean, they talk about how there's slavery and how it's unfair, but
we don't have the boobs.
Aside from Kaladin, this never ever seems to come up.
Right.
And you think this would really come up a lot more after all the listeners were free and they needed a cheap labor force.
Absolutely. But why doesn't that ever get addressed?
After all the singers are changed, we never hear about class warfare, about the light eyes and the dark eyes all of a sudden having to split manual labor duties. Like,
yeah, totally.
This stuff never comes up, but this is exactly what would happen in a social upheaval. So,
totally.
don't talk about social upheaval unless you're going to actually deliver on it. You know what I mean?
And granted, he still has 1,200 pages to do that in the 5th book, but still. Sparks gets me back to the point that I was going to make, which is she says, "What's the fun in being able to best some asshole in a duel if you're not going to beat him to death?" And I agree, because that's what I think Yasna should have done. And I was really excited for a brief moment, because Dalinar clearly did not want her to engage, and she engaged, but she did it in a way where she still is, indisputable from her actions.
The point of that is she outsmarted Dalinar at his own game. Like, oh, I'm the master of dueling.
Exactly.
And
Well,
she's
she's
like,
the
no,
master of
I'm going to
everything.
duel him, and I'm going to do it better than you, Dalinar.
Exactly, and that's the problem I had with it. She's the master of everything. But besides that, what I was really hoping for when that scene took place was like, oh shit, she's gonna split with Dalinar, and she's gonna start doing things her own way, and she's gonna be turned into a villain. Nope, not even close. Like, which I thought would have been a much more interesting character movement for her, because it actually would have justified her coming back from the dead.
Yeah, no, that's not what we get.
Nope, not even close. And I thought, like, how interesting would that be if, like, Dalinar is a champion for, like, the first female leader of Alethkar, and she turns out to be an unstoppable tyrant. That would have been so cool.
That she turns out to be worse than Dalinar, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, she like, because, and they built that up too. She's like, the book talks about
got plenty of keys.
Totally. The book always talks about how much she admired Dalinar and everything. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great if, like, what she admired about him was how ruthlessly he used to murder people? And, like, that was the lesson she took away, and now Dalinar has to come to terms with the monster he accidentally created.
And here's the thing, Chris, is we're talking about how much better these books could have been
if
the writer had took our advice, right?
Yeah, oh, totally. And I can't write
very
this shit.
Simple
like,
little tweaks.
I want to clarify that. Like, I absolutely shouldn't be the one, writing these things or anything like that. Like, I don't have the patience to sit down and write a 1,200-page novel. But
here's the thing: none of those novels had to be 1,200 pages.
Oh,
Chris.
for sure. But at the same time, like I'm not comparing myself to Sanderson. I'm saying there are some opportunities that were kind of almost like low-hanging fruit that he just never plucked. And they would have been home runs if he did. Like, I would have loved to see Evil Yasna. But nope.
But I mean, here's the thing is, you're not going to get that, because at the end of the day, this is basically a Shonen Jump. No good guys can ever do anything bad, right?
Yeah.
They can make bad decisions, but they will never turn sides.
Right.
You will never get your money-making character to turn their back, because the fandom will tear you apart.
Mm-hmm. Though
you can't do anything bold or interesting.
Sure.
Just, yeah.
I agree. But the one exception to that I can potentially see, I could... So, like, he's already revealed that, like, the first 5 books are their own story. Remember, you have a sword. And the second 5 books are...
Oh my god, I do, Chris.
And the second 5 books are meant to be a follow-up, but, like, with a massive time jump. And
I'm assuming the first 5 books will be like what happens on their version of Earth, and the next 5 will be some like cosmos shit that I don't care about.
Yeah, and to be fair, I'm interested in seeing what he does, even if I might not read it. But one hey,
there's your wave beam.
Sweet, worth it. One direction I could see it going that I actually wouldn't mind. You mentioned how, like, none of the heroic characters have any real faults. I would love to see Dalinar fail and like somehow unwittingly become Odium's puppet at the end of all this. And like
that would be fine.
And like
then
the
Kaladin
whole
has to fight enthralled Dalinar. I
sure,
can get behind that.
And then like the whole second series is like basically undoing what Dalinar did with the best of intentions. Like I would be down for a story like that. Like basically like a better, more fleshed out version of Darth Vader sort of thing. Oh, that's right, the statue. Yeah. Push it up.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that.
Link just got drunk a little bit there.
Please don't tell me to do my job.
You don't push the statue. I'll push the statue.
I think we're out of chest, though, is the thing.
I think... Did you get the... You got the big key, right?
Yeah, I got the big chest. It was a big disappointment.
Yeah, it was. Missile, but then we got the wave beam. But now you can take out the boss, no problem.
Thank you, rubber banding.
Yeah, that's the other interesting thing about the dungeon. Suddenly you do have to open all the chests just to make sure there's not something really valuable in them. Sparks writes, time skip? Question mark. The Shonen Jump similarities continue. Nick is not wrong. Like, I never thought about it that way, but absolutely. What Sanderson has created is Shonen Jump. Like, countless characters, each telling their own, like, little side stories that are meant to connect but don't always.
Yeah. Season 1 we focus on Todoroki / Kaladin. Season 2 is Bakugo / Dalinar.
Fan favorites who suddenly get their own spin-offs arcs. And yeah.
Well,
that's right, the hammer. Shit, you can't get to the boss.
We've reached. Oh no! Saving and quitting takes me. Ooh.
Light World. You're right. But can we use this to our advantage? I still say go into the Hyrule Castle dungeon and just make your way through the sewers and see what's in the treasure chest there.
Well, because we have the lamp.
Right.
We're going to have to do that eventually.
Exactly. And I was going to say, it could be something stupid that like is just like the glove or something that would change everything.
Yeah. Okay. That's reasonable.
And then we can quit for the night, because I've talked your ear off at this point.
This has been delightful. It's just like a repeat of last Thursday.
Well, I did not expect to get off on books, but I'm happy we did, because I love talking about this shit.
Oh, no, it's like I said, this is the whole point of the randomizer is open a chest and, hey, wow, look at that.
Talk about whatever we want, yeah.
Yeah, just kind of a framing device to talk about whatever.
Hey, it's those games, what we played 30 years ago and that everybody's playing.
Yeah, let's head into the dungeon here.
Yeah, Sparks, in case like you haven't heard us talk about this before, what Nick and I are harping on right now is the Stormlight Archives.
Oh, we talked about this with her in episode 2 of Minoria.
Gotcha. Good.
She is familiar with it, but the twist is I'm saying nice things about it now.
Yeah, and like I feel like when I talk about Stormlight Archive, people might mistakenly think that I completely hate the series. I do not. Like, there's a lot I love about it, and because there's a lot I love about it, like, the flaws just kind of come out that more glaringly.
The Stormlight Archives is like your childhood best friend who, at the age of 25, started like getting into heroin and hard drugs, and then just absolutely ruined their life. And like, here you are, 36 years old. And you're having to loan them like $300 because they're in Chicago and they've lost control of their life, and you just want them to be in a hotel.
Come on, man! I promise the 5th book's gonna be awesome. Just give me a little bit of money.
It's just, you're not angry, you're just disappointed.
Come on, Sanderson. No, and I think going back to your point, Nick, I think Sanderson's biggest weakness is that he feels like he has to make every book longer than the last. Like,
and that's the thing, is that I think gives science fiction as well as high fantasy a bad name, because it creates this whole thing of doorstop fantasy. I hate that. The entire Shadow of the Torturer 4-book series can be contained in one Sanderson novel. And I gotta tell you, there's one series I reread every year, and it ain't Rhythm of War.
And yeah, that's right. Like, it's
tell your story. Don't worry about, like, just talking for the sake of talking.
Yeah, and like, I have nothing wrong with like long novels, but it's so frustrating that like he's doing this to like,
it's not in service of anything. And it's a waste of your time.
He's trying to have the definitive word on high fantasy, and instead what he's doing is,
remember me,
suffocating. Oh no! He's like suffocating his own audience.
Come on, Space Jump.
Son of a bitch! How many red rupees have we gotten in this playthrough?
I think we got them all. At this point, it's smooth sailing, right?
I hope so. Off to the sewers. Spark says, "Don't forget the Christmas-like holiday side episode too." That's oddly specific. I think he did that in the what were the 2 spin-off novels, Nick? Which I
there's one
read.
about Resin and Cheery Cheery, and then there's one about
Lift.
Oh God, what's her name? The Ed Dancer? Yeah,
Lift.
Yeah.
Which interestingly, she's one of my favorite characters. I like Lift.
Really? Every time she was on screen, every time she appeared, I was like, "Fuck this novel." Fuck
Oh really?
this.
I enjoy Lift.
I hated her because it was like you dropped an annoying, like, it's like you dropped someone who lives on Tumblr into this medieval fantasy that takes itself seriously.
Well,
it's like you broke your tone so hard in service of nothing.
So here's my take on that. One, I don't think Sanderson has settled on a tone yet for 1,200 page novels in. But then secondly, like I actually kind of enjoy the character archetype that Lift falls into, which is, the manic pixie side character. But at the same time, like the way that she functions in the story,
You cannot convince me that there is something dangerous and witty going on when she is on screen.
No, nothing dangerous, nothing witty, but she tends to be the character that sort of lends perspective that you don't get with all of like the characters who are ruling empires, basically. And that's what I always enjoy about the Lift archetype. But like not everyone who has these world-ending superpowers has to be in it for some, high moral principle. So some of them are just hungry.
One of the many other characters he's set up to fill that role then, right? What's Gaz doing these days?
Oh yeah, the whole Bridge 13 crew. You make a good point.
Yeah, wait, what are those guys doing?
Or no, I'm not thinking of Gaz. Gaz was the prison driver, right?
Yeah,
never mind.
That I'm thinking her service and made him a spy, and then did nothing with him.
And then he's gone. He's just kind of a background.
He's just there, but he doesn't do anything.
Yep, exactly. Which is kind of funny because in the first novel you really hated Gaz, and it was kind of funny to see Shallan give him a fair shake in the second one.
No, she had to redeem him.
Yep.
For no reason. Well, for him to do nothing.
Exactly, because there was another part. God damn it! There was another section where I was kind of waiting for like, okay, now let's let Gaz be an evil asshole and sell everybody out again. But nope, he never does.
Let that happen.
Nope.
I'm sorry, but that's not human nature. Not everybody will turn to the light if you give them a chance.
Exactly.
And, but they do in that novel. Well, hey.
Who's the fucker who died?
Chewbacca?
Moash?
No, Moash is still alive, of course.
Moash is the evil one.
All that build-up for Moash to appear in the tower, and he does jack shit.
Oh, yeah, he, menaces Navani for a minute, and then he's like, maybe not.
And then he, tries to convince Kaladin to commit suicide, but he's not going to do it, so...
But he won't kill him with his own hand, because reasons.
Now, he says no man can kill him, but he seems very killable.
Taft died.
Oh, yeah, Teft. Yeah, the skooma addict.
Yes. Who, just as Teft got interesting, they killed him.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with... Well, I had kind of already raged and been frustrated about that, because they did that with Alucard, right?
Oh, King Alucard. Oh, gosh. Yeah, there was another one
If I had to pick a moment where the series died for me, it was then, when Moash killed him right in the middle of swearing the ideals to become Radiant.
Yeah.
That would have been so cool for him to actually become a good king, but... Oh, well.
Yep, guess that's not going to happen. And now they're kind of sort of building it up like his son's... That might be the plot of the time skip.
But they had to kill Alucard because they brought back Yasna.
Right. Well, and I'm thinking that might be part of the plot in the time skip is Alucard's son becomes a moron or crazy or something like that, because they kind of nice. They kind of hint that he's got some evil inclinations as a result of seeing his father killed.
I'm gonna guess the time skip is gonna basically be separating original Star Trek from TNG.
Oh, you think they're going into a whole separate cast of characters?
Yes.
Okay.
I 100%. We're gonna go from Shatner to Jean-Luc Picard.
Okay. Well,
I guarantee it.
When you put it that way, I would actually be on board.
Yeah, because TNG was better. But...
Yeah, 100%. No, my theory is it's gonna be maybe 20 years or something, and it's gonna cut Kaladin has to come back for one more round of this.
How many times can we talk about Kaladin coming back from war in 10 books?
Oh,
right.
I'm willing to bet at least 6 more.
Oh god.
But no, my thought was, and the last thing I'll say about this is that my guess is that the sequel arc is going to probably revolve a lot around Alucard's son.
Gaz, or
the kid. I
wait,
can't think of his name.
Gavilar. No,
No, Gavilar was his father, right? Oh wait, no, he's named after his father. Yeah, never mind.
His name is like Gav or some
Gav.
such.
Yep. And the only reason I think that is because they're constantly hinting at nice way to not use the glove. Is they're constantly hinting at the fact.
Well, that doesn't get us past the difficult thing.
No, it doesn't, does it? What does the witch give you?
Nothing until I give her a mushroom. I just wanted some blue potion.
You still have to give her the mushroom, okay.
I just wanted that sweet, sweet blue potion.
But yeah, like they're constantly hinting at like, hey, Gav is probably a little bit fucked up from what he saw, and you know, I'm sure he is, but I also don't know where he's gonna go with it necessarily.
I'm sure that, yeah, I'm sure whatever it is, there'll be a great idea, and then they'll just write Shalon into it instead.
Oh,
you didn't even get me. You didn't even. I didn't even get a chance to talk about how frustrating it was, that whole plot line about Pattern being the traitor, and it turned out no one was the traitor.
Nobody's really in trouble.
Nobody's really bad. They just make bad decisions.
Sparks says, "What's that way they say to come up with high fantasy memes? Take a bunch of letters, toss them in the air, and when they land somewhere, add some vowels." That's right.
Or take some vowels out, right?
Yeah, right. Oh man. No, I'm actually glad that we don't have enough time for me to harp on Shalon, because
well,
what you consider about Lift is the way that I consider Shalon. So that's where I'll leave it.
Well, that's a shame. That's a shame. I was really getting started, but we're probably an hour and a half into it, right?
Yep, that's exactly where we are.
Well, it's been fun, even if it's the last stream of the year. So maybe not. I don't know.
I was gonna say I still got Thursday on me if you find some time.
So yeah, go ahead and strategize for the next stream. But no, I'm glad we spent most of that talking about books.
I've been so invested in the book talk that I'm actually gonna have to go back and watch this and figure out what all we've got.
I've got Redwall on my to-read list for 2023. So thank you, Sparks.
Sweet. All right, Sparks. Yeah, thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah, Nick, Happy New Year if I don't see you till then.
Yeah. Nick, Feliz Navidad.